1001 Questions and Answers on English Grammar by Benjamin Hathaway. Syntax. 1. Of what does syntax treat? Of the relation, agreement, government, and the due arrangement of words and sentences according to established usage. 2. What is a sentence? It is a collection of words expressing a complete thought, as man is mortal, the wise Solomon built a temple. 3. What is meant by the relation of words and sentences? Their connection or dependence upon each other as to meaning. 4. What is meant by the agreement of words? The similarity of one word to another in its properties. 5. What is meant by the government of words and sentences? The power which one word has over another in determining its properties. 6. What is meant by the due arrangement of words? Their proper position in a sentence. 7. Syntax may be treated under what two heads? Synthesis and analysis. 8. Define synthesis. It is the combining of the elementary parts of a sentence into a whole. 9. Define analysis. It is the separation of a sentence into its elementary parts. 10. What is parsing? It is pointing out the several parts of speech and their relation to each other by government or agreement. 11. How many words are necessary to form a sentence? Only 2 words are absolutely necessary, and one of them may be understood as birds fly, go, with an implied U preceding go. 12. What elements are these 2 words? They are the subject and predicate. Sometimes the object of the transitive is required to make the sentence. 13. What is a proposition? It is a thought expressed in words. 14. Into what classes are propositions divided? Into principal and subordinate, according as they are independent or dependent. As, man is mortal. Man, who is mortal, must die. A subordinate proposition is called a clause. 15. How many kinds of sentences are there as to structure? 3. Simple, complex, compound. 16. Define a simple sentence. It is a sentence that contains but one proposition, as, the trees are full of foliage. She believed him to be a gentleman. 17. Define a complex sentence. It is a sentence which consists of a principal proposition, some part of which is modified by a subordinate proposition. If thine enemy hunger, feed him. 18. Define a compound sentence. It is one that contains 2 or more simple or complex sentences, as, beauty soon fades, but virtue lives forever. They that forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. 19. What is a member of a sentence? It is a subdivision of a compound sentence, and therefore is a sentence in itself, either complex or simple. Thus, you think him humble, God thinks him proud. He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. 20. What is a phrase? It is a group of 2 or more words forming an expression by themselves, but not expressing a full thought. As, in truth, by the way, to do right. 21. What is an ellipsis? It is an omission, as, had seen the sooner, had I been able. 22. What is an abridged sentence? It is one in which there is a contraction by using fewer words, but a retention of the meaning, as, if rich, they go to enjoy, if poor, to retrench. I will not fight against thee, unless compelled. 23. How many kinds of sentences are there as to manner of assertion? There are 4: declarative, imperative, interrogative, and exclamatory. 24. Define a declarative sentence. It is one that makes simply an assertion, as, all men are mortal. 25. Define an imperative sentence. It is one used in commanding, entreating, or permitting, as, write me a sentence. Let your light shine. Go this time. 26. Define an interrogative sentence. It is one that asks a question, as, O grave, where is thy victory? 27. Indicate one peculiar use of the interrogative sentence. It may be used as a subordinate sentence in a complex, declarative, imperative, or exclamatory sentence, as, we heard who was there. Go and see what he wants. Oh, that I knew who did the crime. 28. Define an exclamatory sentence. It is one that is used to express emotion or passion, as, how it rains! Oh, what a monster of wickedness Nero was! 29. What is meant by an element of a sentence? Any word or part of a sentence is an element. 30. How many kinds of elements are there as to rank? 2. Principal and subordinate. 31. What are principal elements? The essential parts of a sentence, subject and predicate. 32. What is the subject of a sentence? That of which something is asserted, as, Susan writes. 33. What may be subjects? A word, phrase, or sentence used as a noun. 34. What classes of subjects are there as to structure? Simple, complex, and compound. 35. What is a simple subject? It is a single subject without modifiers, or considered apart from its modifiers, as, birds sing. An industrious boy will be rich. 36. What is a complex subject? It is a simple subject together with its modifiers, as, an industrious boy will be rich. The simple subject is the base of the entire subject. 37. What is a compound subject? It is one composed of 2 or more simple or complex subjects of equal rank, connected by coordinate conjunctions, as, Adam and Eve were our first parents. The kangaroo and the black swan are found in Australia. 38. What is the predicate of a sentence? It is that which is asserted of the subject, as, Susan writes. 39. How many kinds of predicates are there? Simple, complex, and compound. They are defined the same as the corresponding classes of subjects. 40. Give examples of each. Simple. He reads. They live in the city. Complex. They live in the city. Most men love to be called great. Compound. He reads and writes. They live in the city and work in the country. 41. I am ill. They seem quiet. They were brothers. Explain the predicate element in the above sentences. Many verbs are not complete in themselves as predicates. There is something needed to give the affirmation a full meaning. One class of these seem to call for something more to be added relating to the subject, further describing or qualifying it. Such statements may be completed by adding a noun or an adjective as above. 42. Into what may the predicate be resolved? Copula and attribute. 43. What is the copula? That which joins the subject to the attribute, as the trees are green. 44. What verbs are copulas? They are generally some form of the verb be, but other verbs sometimes have a copulative use, as she seemed pleased, he was considered lucky. 45. What is an attribute? It is that which is asserted by the copula, as apples are ripe, the grass is green. 46. What is a subordinate element? It is one which is dependent upon any other part of the sentence, as the best agricultural implements are made in America. These elements are called modifiers. 47. What classes of subordinate elements are there as to structure? 3. Simple, complex, and compound. 48. What is a simple subordinate element? It is a modifier whose base is unmodified, as wicked people live miserably. He is a man of brains. The man who never told a lie was our first president. 49. What is a complex subordinate element? It is a modifier consisting of two or more words, the base of which is modified, as birds sing very sweetly, a very rich man. 50. What is a compound subordinate element? It is a group of words whose base consists of two or more members of equal rank, connected by coordinate conjunctions, as he acted honorably and manfully. Well-educated and fine-tempered people are to be admired. 51. What classes of subordinate elements are there as to relation? They are divided into adjective, adverbial, objective, subjective, independent, and connective elements. 52. What is an adjective element? It is a word or group of words which modifies a noun or pronoun, as a beautiful house. Mr. Jones, the farmer, came to town. 53. What is an adverbial element? It is a word or group of words used as an adverb, as the horse runs swiftly, she is old enough. 54. What elements are nouns in opposition and possessives? They are adjective elements, because they limit nouns and pronouns. 55. What is an objective element? It is a word or group of words being the object of a transitive verb in the active voice, as he chops wood, they captured the enemy. 56. What is an independent element? It is a word or phrase whose base has no dependent relation, as, alas, my child. It is work to study. For you to act so is inexcusable. Her work being done, she went calling. 57. What are connective elements? Those words which join and indicate the rank of other elements. They are coordinate and subordinate. 58. What is a coordinate connective? One that joins elements of equal rank, as John and James are brothers. He grieved, but did not tell the cause. Coordinate connectives are always conjunctions. 59. What is a subordinate connective? One that joins elements of unequal rank, as I will go if she gives me permission. We will call tomorrow unless it rains. Subordinate connectives are either conjunctions, conjunctive adverbs, or relative pronouns. 60. What classes of subordinate elements are there as to base? Elements of the first class, second class, and third class. 61. What is an element of the first class? One whose base is a single word, as the dutiful son has gone away. He has a new house. 62. What is an element of the second class? One whose base is an infinitive, or a preposition, and its object, as they love to study. He has gone to the city. 63. What is an element of the third class? One whose base is a subordinate sentence, as they always thought that Brutus was an honorable man. 64. Give the classification of sentences. Sentences, under which there are 1 kinds, 2 elements, 3 connective. Within kinds, there is as to structure and as to nature of proposition. Within as to structure, there is simple, complex, and compound. Within simple, there is complete and abridged. Within complex, there is principal and subordinate. Within compound, there is leading and coordinate. Within as to nature of proposition, there is declarative, imperative, interrogative, and exclamatory. Within elements, there are classes, of which there are principal and subordinate. Within principal classes, there is the subject and predicate, and within predicate, there is copula and attribute. Within subordinate classes, there can be as to structure, as to relation, or as to base. As to structure, there can be simple, complex, or compound. Within as to relation, there can be adjective, adverbial, or objective. Within as to base, there can be first class, second class, or third class. Within connectives in sentences, there are classes which can be coordinate or subordinate. Coordinate classes are conjunctions. Subordinate classes are conjunctions, adverbs, or relative pronouns. Explanation of the diagrams. 65. The bar is used to subordinate a single element. The tie is used for unifying the subject and predicate of a complete sentence, also the members of a compound sentence. The brace subordinates two or more elements. A vinculum and half brace is used to subordinate a modifier to a particular word, as in fifth diagram. Brackets are used to enclose words understood. Words having a double use, such as adverbs and relative pronouns, are underscored. The parenthesis is used to enclose words not necessary to the construction. The first word of a sentence is capitalized, and the last word is followed by the proper punctuation mark, wherever they may be situated in the diagram. Double relatives are separated into their equivalent parts before diagramming. 66. Diagram and analyze a simple sentence. Pain follows pleasure. A tie combining pain and follows pleasure. A bar between follows and pleasure. This is a simple declarative sentence, of which pain is the simple subject unmodified, of which sentence also follows pleasure is the complex predicate, of which follows is the simple predicate modified by pleasure, a simple objective element of the first class. 67. Diagram and analyze a complex sentence. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul. A tie between he that refuseth instruction and despiseth his own soul. A bar between he and that refuseth instruction. A tie between that and refuseth instruction. A bar between refuseth and instruction. A bar between despiseth and his own soul. A brace between his and own, modifying soul. This is a complex declarative sentence, of which he that refuseth instruction is the complex subject, of which he is the simple subject, modified by that refuseth instruction, a simple adjective element of the third class. It is also a simple declarative subordinate clause, of which that is the simple subject unmodified, also the subordinate connective, and refuseth instruction is the complex predicate, of which refuseth is the simple predicate, modified by instruction, a simple objective element of the first class, of which principal sentence, also, despiseth his own soul is the complex predicate, of which despiseth is the simple predicate, modified by his own soul, a complex objective element of the first class, of which soul, the base, is modified by his and own, two simple adjective elements of the first class. 68. Diagram and analyze a compound sentence. Talk to the point and stop when you have reached it. A tie between you, talk to the point, and stop when you have reached it. A tie between you in brackets and talk to the point. A bar between talk and to the point. A bar between point and the. And is in parentheses. A tie between you and stop when you have reached it. You is in brackets. A bar between stop and when you have reached it. A tie between you and when have reached it. A brace between when and it modifying have reached. When is underscored. This is a compound imperative sentence, of which talk to the point is the leading sentence, of which you, understood, is the simple subject unmodified, of which sentence, also, talk to the point is the complex predicate, of which talk is the simple predicate, modified by to the point, a complex adverbial element of the second class, of which to point, the base, is modified by the, a simple adjective element of the first class, and stop when you have reached it is the coordinate imperative sentence, of which and is the coordinate connective, and you, understood, is the simple subject unmodified, of which sentence also, stop when you have reached it, is the complex predicate, of which stop is the simple predicate, modified by when you have reached it, a simple adverbial element of the third class. It is also a simple declarative subordinate clause, of which you is the simple subject unmodified, of which, also, have reached it when is the complex predicate, of which have reached is the simple predicate modified by when, a simple adverbial element of the first class, also by it, a simple objective element of the first class. 69. Diagram and analyze a sentence containing an expletive. It was his intention to return. A tie between it, to return, and was his intention. It is in parentheses. A bar between his and intention. This is a simple declarative sentence, of which it is an introductory expletive, and to return the simple subject of the second class, unmodified, of which sentence also was his intention is the complex predicate, of which was intention is the simple predicate. Was, the copula, is unmodified, and intention, the attribute, is modified by his, a simple adjective element of the first class. 70. Diagram and analyze a sentence containing a double relative. I gave him what was necessary, equivalent to I gave to him the thing which was necessary. A tie between I and gave to him the thing which was necessary. A brace between to him and the thing which was necessary, modifying gave. To is in brackets. Thing is italicized. A brace connecting the and which was necessary, modifying thing. The is in italics. A tie between which and was necessary, which is in italics. This is a complex declarative sentence, of which I is the simple subject unmodified, of which sentence also gave him what was necessary is the complex predicate, of which gave is the simple predicate modified by to him, a simple adverbial element of the second class, also by the thing which was necessary in the expanded form, a complex objective element of the first class, of which thing, the base, is modified by the, a simple adjective element of the first class, also by which was necessary a simple adjective element of the third class. It is also a simple declarative subordinate clause, of which is the simple subject unmodified, of which sentence also was necessary is the simple predicate unmodified, was the copula, and necessary the attribute. 71. Diagram and analyze a simple sentence whose subject is an infinitive. To speak well in public is surely a fine attainment. A tie between to speak well in public and is surely a fine attainment. A brace between well and in public, modifying to speak. A vinculum modifying is, and a half tie adding in surely. A brace between a and fine, modifying attainment. This is a simple declarative sentence, of which to speak well in public is the complex subject of the second class, of which to speak is the simple subject, modified by well, a simple adverbial element of the first class, and by in public, a simple adverbial element of the second class, of which sentence also is surely a fine attainment is the complex predicate, of which is attainment is the simple predicate, of which is the copula is modified by surely, a simple adverbial element of the first class, and attainment, the attribute, is modified by a and fine, two simple adjective elements of the first class. 72. Diagram and analyze a complex sentence whose subordinate clause is the entire subject of the principal sentence. That you may succeed is my desire. A tie between that you may succeed and is my desire. A tie between that, you, and may succeed. That is in parentheses. A bar between my and desire. This is a complex declarative sentence, of which that you may succeed is the simple subject of the third class, also a simple declarative element, of which that is an introductory expletive, and you, the simple subject unmodified, and may succeed, the simple predicate unmodified, of which principal sentence also is my desire is the complex predicate, of which is desire is the simple predicate, is the copula is unmodified, and desire, the attribute, is modified by my, a simple adjective element of the first class. 73. Diagram an interrogative sentence. What is your name? A tie between your name and what is. A bar between your and name. 74. Diagram 5 miscellaneous sentences. The man whom you saw is my brother. A tie between the man whom you saw and is my brother. A brace between the, you, saw whom, modifying man. A tie between you and saw whom. A bar between saw and whom is underscored. A bar between my and brother. He was elected mayor. A tie between he and was elected to be mayor. A bar between was elected and to be mayor. To be is in brackets. That road is quiet and secluded. A tie between that road is quiet and is secluded. A bar between that and road. A tie between is quiet and is secluded. and is in parentheses. Is in brackets. We expected to go to the city today. A tie between we and expected to go to the city today. A bar between expected and to go to the city today. A brace between to the city and today, modifying to go. A bar between city and the. Friend of mine, why so sad? A tie between friend of mine, you, and why are so sad. Friend of mine is in parentheses. A bar between friend and of mine. You is in brackets. A vinculum under R and a half brace, adding why. R is in brackets. A bar between so and sad. 75. What is the grand clue to all syntactical parsing? The sense, which alone exposes the use of the word and its relations. 76. What is parsing? It is the naming the different parts of speech and their classes, the modifications in their order, and the pointing out the relation, agreement, or government, and to apply the rules of syntax. 77. What is meant by rules of syntax? They are the leading principles to be observed in the construction of sentences. 78. How many are there? There are 24 leading principles. End of section 14.